Alright guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today we are going to be ranking the entire MCU. We wanted to wait until we saw Endgame, really get an idea of everything totally amassing to this point.
So I'm going to do mine, and then Brian's going to do his, and we're just going to try to speed this up. There are 22 films in the whole
Yeah, and
thing.
I don't want this to be a 30-minute video, so we're gonna go right through them real quick.
Yep. So obviously I'm going to start from worst to best, and I'm not going to lie, a lot of the ones that are in the middle, they could all be switched around. That is the hardest part, ranking all the MCU movies. So let's get going. Dive in. My least favorite Marvel movie would have to be Thor: Dark World. It is not my favorite. Story, it's just everything about that movie is just not great. The next one would have to be Iron Man 3, and then to follow Iron Man 2. I did not enjoy those movies. They lost it for me. The villains were not so great, and they just fell flat for me. Now this one is a newer one. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp. I didn't enjoy this one as much as I enjoyed the first one. I know a lot more people like this one better, and I understand the villain was slightly better in this one. The funny just fell flat. Guardians Volume 2. I was disappointed in this one. After coming off Guardians, the first one, I really, really loved that movie. And this one, the comedy was just overstretched and did not enjoy it. Infinity War. This might be a little, earth shaker one, but did not like it. Do not like movies that you have to go see this one to go see the other one, and it's open-ended at the end. I do not like it. I didn't like it on Pirates. I didn't like it with any of those type of movies. Don't enjoy them. Captain Marvel recently came out. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite Marvel movie. I think there's more to offer with Captain Marvel. I'm excited to see where it goes. Thor. We're introduced to Thor, and without Thor, we wouldn't have Thor and Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Avengers: Age of Ultron. Let me just say one thing. Quicksilver. Ant-Man. This is, like I said, these are all going to be kind of in the middle, and they could be either way, but I really like Paul Rudd, and I think he adds a little bit of comedy to the whole MCU series. Black Panther. Enjoyed it. Did not like the CG. Hulk. Often, one of the ones that people forget to even think about, but Edward Norton did the Hulk movie. I enjoyed it. It's very simple. It's a basic MCU movie. Probably ranks lower on other people's lists, but I enjoyed it. Civil War, the fight between Iron Man and Captain America. Do I need to say more? Iron Man. I like this movie, but it's not my favorite. Robert Downey Jr. definitely shines in it, and he is one of the biggest stars. Captain America: First Avenger. I just love the whole theming. I love the time it's in, and I just love the whole start of the whole beginning of, a superhero. Doctor Strange. One of the wildest movies in the MCU. Do I need to say, he is super powerful. Spider-Man. I enjoyed Spider-Man. I like Tom Holland, but Michael Keaton as a villain stole it for me. One of the best villains for MCU. Guardians of the Galaxy. This movie is just so much fun. It's a blast. It's just one of the faves I can just watch on repeat. Thor: Ragnarok. This beats Guardians just slightly, but, even though it has that same comedy scheme, I just liked how Thor took it to the next level, and it just changed how we're going to see him progress in the other movies. Top 3, Winter Soldier. One of the most grounded movies, I feel like, in the MCU. I love the whole story of Bucky and Cap just, trying to get each other. Second is going to be Endgame. Endgame is up there for me. I really, really enjoyed it. It's the first MCU movie I actually cried, so I think it reaches up there. The ending was simply perfect. They gave me goosebumps scenes. I loved it. And obviously the first one, number 1, is going to be Avengers. Never thought in a million years they were going to be able to have all these characters come out in one movie and just make a whole grand movie and just a great superhero movie.
Alright guys, and now it's time to run through my list, try to get through this real quick. So, starting from the bottom, working our way to the top, Thor: The Dark World. I think it's one of the most underwhelming MCU movies. I really don't think it pushed the narrative forward a lot. Kind of a flat story overall, just not that great. Then Iron Man 2. I have to say, when I was younger I liked it. I went back and revisited. It's pretty plain, pretty boring, pretty generic. Just overall not an amazing film either. Then Ant-Man and the Wasp. Honestly, I wanted to like this movie. I really loved the first Ant-Man. It just didn't hit home with me. I thought it had some decent ideas, decent villain, but again, just didn't blow me away. Then the original Thor movie. I love this movie before I started seeing Thor as a different character. I really enjoy him now, and going back and watching this film, it's very flat. It does set the groundwork, but still, we got so much better version of these characters, and this character in particular. Then, Iron Man 3. I really didn't like Iron Man 3. The twist didn't work for me. I think it took a lot back from the story for me in particular, and that's the main reason why it's so low on my list. Then, Captain Marvel. I think that Captain Marvel could potentially move up. I think it felt like it was a movie that was kind of shoehorned in there. Like, we needed to have this character introduced in the movie. It doesn't feel very cohesive with the rest of the MCU. Still a fun movie, and yeah, it's a little lower for me. Then, a little higher than most people, I have The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. I think this is kind of the overlooked movie of the MCU. I know it hasn't particularly aged well, but Ed Norton was really good as the Hulk. I like Mark Ruffalo, but really liked his performance, and I thought it was a good movie. Then, Avengers Infinity War. I had an issue with this movie because I feel like it's an incomplete film. I think there's a lot of spectacle. I think there's a lot of great things going on with it, but the ending had me just leaving more. It feels just like a part one. I felt duped when I saw it, and knowing that obviously those characters are going to be coming back, it just didn't have the impact that it should have for me. Then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I like this movie more than a lot of people. I think it had some of the best character moments with these characters, having them deal with family and them together and their history and past. I really liked it. I thought that Yondu was a standout in it. Black Panther. Really liked this movie more after second viewing. I think the CGI does suffer, especially in the third act, but had some really cool ideas, some really new innovative things going on. Really enjoyed it. Civil War. This movie, I loved it going out of theaters. Absolutely loved it. It was probably in my top 5. Tried to rewatch it recently, and it does drag a little bit. It's very bloated. It's a very bloated film, but really good action. Obviously setting up a ton of things. Has some really good impacts in the world, politically wise, and things like that. I really liked it. Ant-Man. I love Ant-Man. I like it more than a lot of other people, and I think it's because I can see Edgar Wright's influence it, because the first one, you could tell, was going to be his movie. It has some of his elements in it, and I love his style. I loved Paul Rudd in it. I thought it was really funny. Captain America: The First Avenger. The movie that most people associate with really, bringing up this character and creating his story. I thought that he has changed so much from that film, and it does set some cool groundwork. It has some really cool character, like really cool setting being in World War II, but overall, it just isn't in my top 5. Spider-Man Homecoming. I was really surprised. I think it has one of, for my money, the best villains in the MCU. Michael Keaton is amazing in it, knocks it out of the park, like Tom Holland, just a really fun movie. Avengers Age of Ultron. Going back now, having seen the whole entirety of the MCU, this is such an integral linchpin of the MCU. Really think Ultron's an underrated villain. I loved every story with the characters and the way that they're coming together, the way the Avengers are kind of moving and shifting from the original film. Really liked it. Thor Ragnarok. Such an amazing, innovative movie in the MCU. I get it kind of piggybacks off of Guardians. Love the direction. Love the way they took the characters. Great comedy. Great style, music, just everything about it is so enjoyable. It's such a fun movie. Doctor Strange. I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I love Sherlock. I've seen most of the movies he's made. He just sells it for me. Him alone makes this movie up into the top for me. Really cool visuals. I love the Eastern influence in the film. Thought it was a lot of fun. Captain America: Winter Soldier. Now, this movie being like an espionage meets MCU, you really kind of get Cap's character fleshed out more. You have Bucky and the Winter Soldier, like their conflict coming together. You have S.H.I.E.L.D. and it's Hydra. Everything about this movie works for me. I think it's one of the top films in the franchise. Really love it. The original Guardians of the Galaxy. This movie is so much fun. There's a reason why this is going to get another film, that people love it. There's such a controversy around it maybe not happening because of what happened with James Gunn. It's so much fun. It's just great that they took these characters that nobody knew about and just made a great, hilarious, amazing space movie. And I just love it so much. Avengers Endgame. Whatever you want to say about plot holes in this movie, it is the most epic thing I have seen in cinema in my entire life. It's the culmination of all this. They pulled it off. I never thought that they could possibly pull it off. Such a satisfying way. Such amazing character moments. Just epic moments in general. Loved it so much. Can't wait to see it again. So, my last two. Number 2 is Iron Man. It's the one that really started it all. Robert Downey Jr. and having the direction that he had in this film, it just worked out perfectly. Jon Favreau just letting them do whatever they want to do. His character coming into his own, creating this iconic character that lasted this whole time. There's a reason why he's been in so many MCU movies, and it's all because of the original Iron Man. I loved it. I thought that the villain was interesting. I thought it was the first, after maybe Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, some of the best modern superhero movies we had seen at the time. Obviously, it was super successful, and the reason why we're 22 films in is because of this movie. Loved it. And my number one is the first Avengers. I love the first Avengers movie. I think it has some amazing moments that we always call back to. Finally seeing these characters come together for the first time felt like something special. It was like the first Endgame. It was them coming together, having Loki as a really linchpin villain in this movie. I really loved it. Set up some of the longest standing things. You see him go back in Endgame because it's such an integral part of the timeline. Really enjoyed it. I really have been with a love-hate relationship with the MCU, especially in recent years, but that's one I always go back to. Really, really love the film, and I'm so happy that we have gotten to where we are today. It feels satisfying. It feels cohesive. The way they were able to weave this whole huge legacy of films together is amazing. And yep, that's my ranking.
Alright guys, this is our ranking of all the MCU movies. Let us know in the comments down below, what are your faves? What are your least favorites? How would you rank your movies?
Yep, and thank you guys for watching.
Bye.